Hey Anna,
Hello, Mickey. Nice to see you.
it's good to see you again.
How's it going?
It's going well. I've been looking forward to talking about this song.
Yes, it's. I feel like again we've talked about the song for in a couple different little interviews, so it's nice to finally be here and to finally have released it. But we are talking today about shifting sands.
Yes, this was, I guess, really the first song that we wrote together for this project. Although
Unknowingly,
we didn't know that we were writing it for this project when we wrote the song.
correct.
It was the last song that I wrote. It was originally for Future Rock, and it was the last song that I wrote for Future Rock.
Yeah, it's the song. I think it's the only one. Was it the only one that didn't make it onto the record with Future
Yes.
Rock?
Yeah. So this was right after we wrote it, right after Long Ago was released.
Mm, which I love so much.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
a good song too.
Um,
The
and
whole album is.
yeah, yeah. So Shifting Sands, when I wrote it, it definitely like had a different vibe to it, I think, than like most of the future rock stuff. So
Yeah.
like, it's a lot easier to like, kind of look back on it now, knowing all the material that we've written for this project,
Yeah.
and like kind of reframe it in the context of the Syzygal project, and it fits very well. But since we hadn't written any other songs for Syzygal at the time and hadn't even really conceived of the project at that point, it didn't, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So some of the things about Shifting Sands that was kind of a departure, um, not from all of there was some future rock songs that had a slower tempo, but by and large, like future rock, especially like the first half to three-fourths of future rock, we were playing pretty fast tempos, or it was like upbeat house music almost.
Right.
So like BPM wise, just to get a little bit geeky for a second. So like early future rock could be like 140 to 150 BPM, which is
Mhm.
like super fast for a dance
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the stuff, the second half of future rock was in the like 128 to 132 range.
Hmm.
Really kind
So
of settled.
now were you writing these differently because you had me in mind, or was it just a
Um,
personal shift that was happening? Like what was the
that's a good question. I if if I was writing them differently with you in mind, I don't remember that being
yeah,
like a conscious thought.
yeah.
Um, it was the direction that like my songwriting, it was, like at the end of the day, I'm writing stuff that I enjoy and that
Right. That
I'm
resonates with
into.
you. Mhm.
And that was just kind of, I think, as I got older and my taste in music matured, I just tended to gravitate a lot more towards. So I was like really into like chill wave music. I guess I still really am, as like one of the
Oh,
styles. And I'm sure if people listen to like a lot of the Syzygal music, they'll hear that chill wave influence. I'm not saying that it's that our music is completely chill wave, but
it
um,
has an element of that. Well, I think especially Shifting Sands. I mean, that intro to Shifting Sands is like I think I hear it just all the time randomly just because it makes me feel good.
it's like the bass part that comes in
Yeah,
itself.
it's so good. It's so like, I don't know, it's like a preparation for change, you know?
Yeah,
It's really beautiful.
yeah, that was the first part that I wrote for the song, was the bass part. And it's always great, it's a lot, there's a good number of songs that I've written where the first thing that I write for a song is the bass part.
Hmm.
And I might have like a scratch kick drum track that's going, and maybe I have an idea of what I want the BPM to be,
Yeah.
kind of like internalize, I have like an internal feeling of the tempo. And so I'll just kind of throw down a scratch kick drum at the around the tempo that I'm thinking. And sometimes I'll just start by improvising bass sounds and bass parts until I
Yeah.
like.
Love the bass. I mean, I feel like it really it inspires you a lot, it seems. And we've had these discussions before where
It does. I just really, I don't, synth bass, it just is the instrument and the sound that speaks to me the most. I mean, I enjoy making synth sounds other than just the synth bass part, but
right, of course, but it's a very important part in the songs, and also, you know, as you said, sort of drives the rest of the ideas. So
yeah, well, if you're making, I mean, for the style, I think for the style of music that we're playing, especially because it's just three of us, and it's literally just the rhythm section plus the vocals, right? I mean, and so the bass part is integral to the sound. And, you know, for me also, I really enjoy playing, like, you know, playing those parts, especially playing them live. There's just something about, you know, you can feel the bass part more than like any other instrument that is playing, right? Oh, I mean, the kick drum too, but that's because you have those lower tones as well.
right. Well, and the bass is really kind of like a drum and a guitar together. So it's like you can control the tone, right? So it's a very,
yeah, you can make, I mean, so like one trick is you can like use a kick drum sound as the bass sound for a song. So you have that like really fast attack, you know, that hit, and then you can like kind of like let the note sustain. So it you can use a kick drum as the bass instrument, which is fun.
Yeah, I'm just now visualizing live performance again.
Yeah,
I want to feel that. I want to feel that right now. And my speakers are just not good enough for me to do that at home. Yeah, so for me, you know, when the song kind of came to me, and I don't think you named this one, did you?
I
Did you
did.
name? Oh, you did?
I think so. Yeah, I did.
I mean, of course you did. So yeah, I don't remember it being that influenced by the title, but obviously I was, because it's called and has that. But yeah, this song, you know, when it came to me, and again, all these songs were kind of like these, they're just documentation of what we're going through in that moment, right?
Sure.
That's all we can do is acknowledge ourselves and just think, my gosh, there's other people dealing with this too. But you know, change, and this is like pre-COVID, right? It's like just the idea of changing, and the idea of like, you know, sort of allowing yourself to become a better version of yourself, and feeling like you have to run away from things that are not good for you, or run towards things that might be good for you, or, you know, whatever the case may be. But yeah, so that these lyrics for me, and also, you know, Kai was really young, I think, when I wrote it, and, you know, so I'd be like watching him playing, and, you know, I was like, I had to be really careful about where he was playing, and
That kind of reminds me, do you remember that when you recorded the vocals originally, he was making sounds in the background?
Yeah.
And so like the entire time that we played that song live for Future Rock, the vocal track we used had Kai in the track.
It melts my heart. It gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Like, yeah, which was really fun. I kind of missed that part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I miss it too. I thought about that as we were like going into the studio to re-record the vocals, but
yeah, it's like, Kai's gone. Maybe he can come back on some future tracks as an older dude. But yeah, I mean, that was a big thing as a new mom, as a you know, as an artist, as a woman, as just a human, you know, how do you hold on and continue growing and continue developing through all these changes in your life, and allow the changes to make you a better and more positive person, you know, or like a better version of yourself. And that's something I struggled with a little bit when I first got pregnant, for example, is I remember being really scared to tell my band, The Familiar, that I was pregnant, because I thought they were going to be like, it's so silly, like the insecurities you have, but I thought they were going to be like, well, there's that, you know, okay, well, we had a good run, you know, enjoy being a mom, see you later, you know what I mean? Which was not at all their reaction. They were super supportive and excited, and, you know, we've done work since then. But there's some things I think in your life that make you think that maybe some chapters are over. And that's not necessarily the case. They can be, if you want them to be, but if you don't want them to be, there's always an option to make those chapters even better. So, but yeah, and then there's like these parts in the song where I'm like, you better watch where you step and play. You better, and it's like, that's like the influence of others. Like, be careful who you surround yourself with. Like, be careful what you spend your time on. Like, some people get lost, on the party scene for years and years, and they wonder why they can't progress, or they hang out with people that are extremely negative or extremely demeaning or whatever. And then it's like, you shrink, right? So it's like, we are so constantly influenced by our surroundings, and part of maturing and growing up is acknowledging that and being careful, right? Because I think as younger people, we just like don't know that that's a thing. We always want to see the best in people, or believe that there's this like really great quality in people, and that's the thing we can hold on to. But that's not always the case,
So I have a very fond memory of playing the song live with you and Darren. So we played, it was the last Future Rock show actually, and maybe the first Syzygal show. So it was at Halloween, and Felix was not able to make it to the show, so we
had just had a baby. Speaking of babies,
yes, and
like during the show, I think.
I think Maddie was due like within a few days of the show. And I didn't make sense to be there. And so we still decided to play the show, and part of it was weird because you were like coming on and off stage during the set. There were some Future Rock songs that were instrumentals that we played without you, and then we played like all of the songs that we had written together, plus some covers that you sang on. But I remember, so Shifting Sands was almost always a song that we played like early in the set for Future Rock. Usually like, it was a great song for the second song of the set.
Yeah.
And so I think it was the second song or third song of our set at Halloween. And, a lot of times at festivals, you start, because like there's sets going all day and like different parts of, depending on how big the festival is in different parts of the park or the place. And so people are walking up usually for the first few songs of the set. So like, you might have like half of the size of the crowd there at the beginning. But then by the second or third song, like there's usually a pretty good amount of people there. So right as people were walking up and really filling in at our set was right about when we started Shifting Sands.
Yeah.
And it really was the moment where I think the crowd really bought into what we were doing. But I remember specifically, I'm sure you remember this, there were these people on these stilts.
Oh my God. I loved, there was like three women.
Yes, they were on stilt. I mean, they seemed like they were really tall stilts.
Yes. I mean, yeah, at least, they must have been at least 15. It felt like 10 or 15 feet off the ground. Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And so like, we're playing Shifting Sands, the crowd's filling in, and there's these women on stilts are walking from the back of the crowd towards the front of the stage. And obviously, like, since they're way taller than everyone else in the crowd,
they're just like floating. Yeah.
I mean, and that just pumped me up so much.
It was lovely there. And we ended up getting a really big crowd that day. I mean, not to toot horns, but it was beautiful. And people kept just coming in and those stilt women. And it almost seemed like they ended up like having like a dance thing around them, because I think I just stared at them the entire time. Yeah.
So it was, well, anyway, that's my fond memory of playing Shifting Sands at that set. But it was always from the moment that we started playing that with Future Rock, it was one of my favorite songs. The last few years we were playing shows, I always really enjoyed that part of the set.
Me too. Me too. That entire that baseline intro situation, like I said, I just hear it and it just makes me feel good. Like it should be like, you should turn that into like some kind of like sleep meditation. Like,
who says that I haven't already turned it into sleep meditation?
There it is, my friends. Yeah, so now, Shifting Sands is our second to last song, Mickey. Next week we're releasing our last song on the album.
Called Stronger.
Called Stronger. And what an appropriate transition from Shifting Sands to Stronger, which, deals with change as well. So we're getting so close and so excited to, share the whole album with everybody, and really excited to hear what you guys think. Still, because we haven't been able to do live shows yet, we're missing that feedback element that just naturally happens at shows. Not even speaking, but just energy-wise. So. If you are so inclined to share any of your thoughts with us or tell us what you think, please do. We'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, look out for our next tune, which is Stronger, on Thursday. And then the following week, on February the 2nd, we will be sharing the link to our full album that you can download for purchase, and you can also stream on all the platforms. And, for those of you that have been listening to these and have been, following us on this journey, I think from the bottom of our hearts, from all of Syzygal, including Darren, thank you very much. We appreciate you, and we're just very grateful to be able to do this.
Absolutely. I couldn't say it any better than that.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.